Hi, it's Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for your ears. Let's talk about the 2009 film, The Disappearance of Alice Creed. The short version is, I was shocked at how good this movie was. I bought it years ago. I think it was in like the $5 bin at Best Buy or whatever. It was still sealed in plastic. I'm going through and reorganizing my collection of the stuff that I've had in storage for years, and here's this movie I've never watched. I took the plastic off of it and watched it last night, that's for sure. It is a twisted tale of two ex-cons kidnapping a young girl so they can get a ransom from her rich father. That's the setup, and that's pretty much what happens throughout the entire film. It was definitely not what I expected. It talks about how exhilarating the movie is and how well made it is on the cover, and I was expecting one of those things where a girl gets kidnapped, she turns the tables on the kidnappers and kills them in horrible ways. I was expecting that kind of horror movie. It definitely was not that. It is a movie that is not the easiest thing to watch. The kidnapping scenes are very realistic. This girl is kidnapped, stripped of her clothes, chained to a bed, forced to pee in a bottle, that kind of stuff. It is not the easiest movie to watch. But I will tell you that if you can get through the movie, it's worth it for the end. And when you realize what the whole thing was really, really about. The relationship between the two guys and the girl becomes clearer as the movie goes on. There's a plot twist about halfway through that my jaw literally hit the floor. I was like, I didn't see that coming, and it totally changed the dynamic of the entire thing. The way it ends, like I said, I was expecting a completely different kind of movie, and that's not what I got. I'm dancing around spoilers. This is a 3-person chamber pot kind of movie. There's multiple locations to a certain extent, but most of it is in the house. The movie opens up with these two guys in an almost David Fincher style scene where they're fixing up the house to be soundproof and, well, escape-proof, basically. And they spend a lot of time on that, on these two guys preparing this before they bring somebody into it. But once they do bring in the kidnapped victim, then the tale begins, so to speak. I think it's very well done, very well acted. All 3 leads, who have you seen in other things, do a fabulous job. Gemma Arterton, however you pronounce her name, was in Bond movies, among others. She's beautiful, and she does an incredible job going all the way from stark terror to I'm going to get these guys kind of emotions. Also, Martin Compston and Eddie Marsan play the ex-cons, and you've seen Eddie Marsan in a whole bunch of movies. Both guys are fantastic. All 3 actors are fantastic. The movie was directed by Jay Blakeson. It was filmed in the UK. That's why we don't know about it much over here. Their accents weren't too thick, but it obviously takes place in England, based on 911 calls and things like that. But other than that, the movie's already been remade twice. There is a Dutch version and a German version. So it's a decent script, and it's incredibly well acted, incredibly intense, and like I said, hard to watch. It's only about an hour and 40 minutes with credits, so you're talking about 90 minutes of like intense. It only had about a $1.5 million budget. Didn't make a whole lot of money, but it's held up. And if you look at the reviews of it, a lot of people give it credit for everything from dread and the atmosphere that it creates to the acting to, well, how it all works out and how it was done. Obviously, whoever was behind this movie, this is not their first film. They did some smart things. I don't want to give anything away, but like if somebody gets hit, there's a certain way to do that in a great movie that it looks realistic. A lot of smaller budget movies miss that mark. They just don't do it right. Well, this movie had one of those scenes where somebody gets hit really hard, and it looks like they got hit really hard, and when they turn back around, blood on the cheek and stuff like that. Just professional. And the whole thing just felt like this is exactly the movie they wanted to make. I was pretty blown away by it. It's not something I'm going to, like I said, I thought I was going to be watching a horror movie, and this would go in my horror. This is more a psychological thriller. 3 characters turning the tables on each other kind of thing. Gritty, down to earth, very realistic to the point it's almost hard to watch. But it's worth it, especially for the end. So if you haven't ever heard of it before, check it out. I think it's on streaming services. Cinemax had it for a while. Yeah, The Disappearance of Alice Creed from 2009. Didn't make a whole lot of money, but the reviews are pretty solid on it. And I got to tell you, it was very, very, I guess entertaining is the word. Everybody's fantastic in it. You probably haven't seen a movie like this in a while, so check it out. The Disappearance of Alice Creed is available now. More podcasts are on the way. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen to one. Have a spectacular day.